Und damit ein herzliches Willkommen und Hallo. Ich bin es, euer Demi-Servant, und nun geht es weiter mit dem zweiten Lostbelt. Beim letzten Mal, zumindest in der Hauptserie, haben wir uns ja, nachdem hier die 7 Crypters mit der Hilfe ihres Aliengottes hier die Menschheit angegriffen haben und die Erde ausgelöscht haben, sind wir hier als einzige lebendige Menschen, unser Team, unsere wenigen Leute hier, die aus Chaldea sich gerettet haben. Goredofl, Sherloch, die Werte Da Vinci, die Kleine und natürlich Mesh, unser Master, hier entkommen. In den ersten Lostbelt sind wir gereist und haben hier mit den Jaggers und haben Paxi, mein bester Freund hier, auch wenn er eigentlich böse war, nein, sehr, sehr emotional hier, am Ende es geschafft, den König hier des ersten Lostbelt, Ivan den Schrecklichen, sowie den ersten Crypter, Kadoc Zemlupus und seinen Servant, die Great Duchess Anastasia, hier bezwungen. Dieser seltsame Baum, der hier war, und der hat noch keine Wurzeln gelegt, was bedeutet, so wie es aussieht, haben wir den Schrecken noch gar nicht gesehen, der uns hier erwartet. Was es mit diesen Aliengöttern, den Kryptern und überhaupt dieser ganzen Geschichte mit auf sich hat, wissen wir noch nicht. Es gibt aber nur eine Möglichkeit, das rauszufinden. Und zwar, indem wir weitermachen. Wir reisen weiter durch die Welten. Meine gute Nero ist nun endlich dabei. Und wir haben nun einige Sachen vor uns. Den zweiten Lostbelt, der uns nun erwartet. Das heißt, wir werden in das ferne Skandinavien reisen. Ich werde mich an Skadi endlich rächen können, da sie ja hier meinen Ruf nicht erhört hat. Und nicht zu vergessen, haben wir beim letzten Mal am Ende des Lostbeltes hier gesehen, dass wir einen Funkruf von einem noch lebendigen Menschen hatten. Was es sich mit auf sich hat. Ob wir es schaffen, mehr über die Crypter, den Aliengott und was auch immer hier herauszufinden. Und natürlich ganz wichtig, ob wir es schaffen, die Menschheit wieder zurückzuholen, um die richtige Geschichte zum wiederherzustellen, werden wir erfahren. Und zwar hoffentlich nun in dem zweiten Lostbelt, die Eternal Icy Fire Century Götterdämmerung. Schön, wenn sie deutsche Worte ins Englische oder Japanische machen. Gefällt mir gut. Also, Zeit für eine neue Reise. I repeat, I'm a mage from proper human history. Please come find me at the following coordinates. Das ist Baldanderes, the Wandering Sea. Genau, und das war nicht zu vergessen. Nämlich Baldanders ist eine der 3 großen magischen Institutionen. Und zwar sogar das älteste Atlas-Institut. Wandering Sea? Wandering Sea? The Wandering Sea? That's one of the 3 great organizations of the Magecraft world. That's a clock tower in London, the Atlas Institute in Egypt. And the oldest of them all, the Wandering Sea. It was located on an island from the Age of God, hidden in the northern oceans. Does this mean it still exists? Und damit hat der erste Lostbelt geendet. Wir haben übrigens Kadoc hier als Geisel und nun haben wir auch ein Ziel. Atmospheric analysis complete. Nitrogen, oxygen, argon and carbon dioxide levels are all green. The man in the atmosphere is almost identical to the levels in the 21st century. I'm not picking up any harmful trace substance either. So we still have breathable air, even in this creepy bleached world. Well, that means we can park the shadow border and go have a look for ourselves. What do you think, Maxi? Doesn't it sound intriguing? Stepping out into a world of sheer nothing in every direction? Haha, of course it does. First we go out and get some fresh air, then we'll look for food. Ich glaube, viel Essen wirst du da nicht finden. You still haven't told me what the Wandering Sea actually is. Cryptic Silence. Empty Smile. Ja, jetzt sagt wieder, dieser Schmuck, der weiß doch gar nicht, was das Wichtige hier im Leben ist. Kennt sich ja gar nicht aus. You don't know either. Du hörst noch besser. Of course I do. You don't. God of music is not a man to pretend to know something doesn't. The major situation isn't a monolith, I'll have you know. Just because I used to work at the clock tower doesn't mean I've ever been to the supposedly living wandering sea in the North Sea. Oh, so you've only heard rumors? I thought you were from some big important family, old man. Don't you call me that, double chin. If I must spell it out for you, then there it is. The Wandering Sea of Baldanders is the first enigma ever discovered in the world of Magecraft, and it will be the last to be puzzled out. It's an island so mysterious and full of mystics that even such gifted mages of an incredible prestigious bloodline as myself may not even set foot in it.
It's true. That all fits with what's in Chaldea's database. It says that though the Mage Association has been around since the start of the AD era, it also split into 3 branches shortly after its inception. The mages who settled in London evolved with the times and focused on developing magecraft over a course of history. That faction went to become the Clock Tower, the largest and most powerful magecraft organization in the world. Its members include the Amnifer family, the founders of Chaldea, and Mr. Goredofl.
Quite so. Here in the 21st century, the Magiers Association and the Clock Tower are all but synonymous.
The next major faction is the Atlas Institute in Egypt. They're dedicated to perfecting alchemy.
Genau, das haben wir gesehen, als wir hier in Camelot waren.
We actually infiltrated their headquarters once, during the 6th Singularity.
Ist zwar schon lange her, aber mehr stehen sich auch noch.
It was a huge research complex, almost like a giant crypt, built deep underground. And as easy as it was to get in, it was hard to get out. The Atlas Institute's ironclad rule is that the technology created there must never leave.
Genau, es waren ja immer diese Leute, die da unmenschlich jetzt experimentiert haben. Alles zum Wohle aber der Menschheit. Aber einmal, wenn man drin war, durfte man nie wieder raus.
But Chaldea's first director was granted an exception thanks to the Atlas contract. The technology he was able to take from the Atlas Institute enabled him to complete Chaldea's. It was also the Atlas Institute that presented him with the Void Reality Observation device, Papermoon, one of the finest mystic codes ever made.
Indeed. They are seldom poke their nose out of their little hole in the ground, but I am told they do converse with lords, albeit as little as possible. They may be a heartless bunch who only care about weapons and technology, but they can be rather useful if you play your cards right.
And finally, the last faction is the Wandering Sea, the Baldandares, said to be somewhere in the North Sea. However, the most I could find about them was a brief overview even in Chaldea's extensive files. It said that their cardinal rule is to only recognize magecraft from the Age of Gods and refuse to accept any advancements or altrusions urged by civilizations. In essence, their ideology is the exact opposite of the Clock Towers.
Indeed. Refusing to accept progress in magecraft means refusing to accept consumer civilization. The Wandering Sea philosophy of magecraft is fundamentally incompatible with the modern human society. That is why they keep their gates firmly shut and why they seldom add to their numbers. In other words, they're a bunch of old fuddy-duddies obsessed with magecraft so ancient it has to be measured with carbon dating. That said, they do open their gates just once every year to try to recruit promising new talent. But even among mages of the Clock Tower, the number who actually make it to the Wandering Sea can be counted on one hand. Do you see my point? I'm saying the Wandering Sea is every bit as secretive as the Atlas Institute, just in different ways. No one from the outside has ever been able to get the full story, the reason being, as the name suggests, the Wandering Sea is always on the move, also eine bewegliche Insel. Most who knows of it believe it to be a floating island somewhere in the North Sea, but it is, in fact, the very opposite. The Wandering Sea's headquarters were built before the AD era began, and they never move at all. It is instead the sea in which they are located that moves around, a world unto itself in many ways. That is almost certainly why its location still remains a secret even in the 21st century. Land that moves around while placing mystic textures on itself, I see. That would make it its own independent singularity. It would also explain how it was able to escape whatever turned the Earth's surface into the endless white desert. All this time, they've been turning their noses at us, but the moment things go south, they don't have any issue sending us a distress signal. Some successor to true mystics they turned out to be. They should have tried taking a page from our book. We're the ones who made it through Russia by the skin of our teeth with no outside help. We're the ones who are currently flailing about with no plan. At least you understand that the situation is still pretty dire, I guess.
Given the present circumstances, it looks like the peoples of the Wandering Sea have decided to bend their rules in order to offer us a lifeboat.
At any rate, Administrative Advisor Holmes, I have a question for you. I would like to be as certain as possible. What do you make of this? Can we trust that their distress signals are genius? I'm afraid I can't speak to that. What do you think, Da Vinci?
Could go either way from the look of it. This transmission is in the part of the clock tower standard, but its wavelength is pretty close to the waveform the Atlas Institute uses. Since we don't have any data about the wandering sources, I can't really give you a definite answer. Still, I can verify that there's definitely something to be found at the coordinates. Whatever the story is, if there's a magecraft workshop there, I'd really like to at least check it out. I know we managed to stretch things with the materials we got in Russia, but there are still limits to what the shadow border can do. What I really want to do is to return the whole frame from scratch, but I doubt we'll be finding much in the way of materials considering the entire world seems to be an empty wasteland. These coordinates from the Wandering Sea would put it in the seas west of Norway. We could go through the Scandinavian Peninsula to turn north to Germany and cut across Denmark. Deutschland! Wunderwind! Wenn wir schon keine Singularität bei uns oder Lostbelt bekommen, wo Karl der Große und die Paladine bekommen, müssen wir uns über die kleinen Dinge im Leben freuen. We just left Moscow heading west, so it will take us a few days to reach them regardless of our route. Assuming that the border can convert the mana in the atmosphere into electricity, that just leaves the question of food. What if we go to the Wandering Sea via Zero Sail? No Zero Sails. As technical advisor, I expressly forbid it. Even if we are going to run into another one of those storm walls along the way, we need to stick to the surface as much as possible. But why? Did you just say there are more of those storm walls? Explain yourself, technical advisor. Is there another storm wall in our path? Doesn't that mean running straight into another Lostbelt? We don't have any other choice, Goredofl. Not with the two big problems we're facing. First, there's a small matter of the Wandering Sea living up to the name. The coordinates they sent us are all over the place. Literally, in fact, they are in a constant state of flux. Nothing definitive precise. With coordinates like these, it will be very risky to try zero sailing there with the paper moon. So unless we go to the Wandering Sea directly and forge some kind of connection to it, a long distance zero sail is out of question. Second, and this is the real problem, we don't have the energy. Yes, Holmes so helpfully suggests us converting mana into electricity, as if we are simply matter, but that can only get us so far. The conversion rate isn't efficient enough, so we'd end up spinning more power than we can produce, which would make a long zero strip fairy tale. After all, no more power means no more working life support systems, and I don't know about you guys, but I sure don't want to be out in this bleached white world all by myself. Als erstes essen wir Goredofl. Good point. The logic was, we have to put up in the void space to use a lot of power. At our current energy levels, I don't think the border could last 2 hours there. And like Da Vinci said, we don't even have the exact coordinates we need. So what? Are you saying we need to enter another Lostbelt if we're going to reach this possible hope for salvation? Where is this new Lostbelt anyway? If you use a typical world map, then the entire Scandinavia Peninsula is covered by one of these storm's walls. Another half or a day or so of driving and you should all get to see the closest thing to the edge of the world for yourself. I take that to mean this white featureless ground will continue until we exit the Russian territory then. At any rate, we have two possible routes to the Wandering Sea designed coordinates. One that takes us across the Scandinavian peninsula and one that brings us to the sea of via Poland and Germany. Da Vinci, in your estimation, which of these gives our best chance? Should we go by land or by sea? I think making a sea voyage would be a lot to ask of the border. We could perhaps get through the Strait of Dover. But, to be honest, I'd rather we keep the distance from the British Isles, since we have no idea about the state of the oceans just now. So, what I'm saying is, I think the overland route is the best choice right now. Good grief. No sooner are we done with one Lostbelt, and then we're off to a second. Your thoughts, Mr. Maxi? Are there any other regions we could cross? An excellent question. I want to know what's going on in the rest of the world, too. What about Europe, for instance? The Scandinavian Peninsula is the only place with a stone wall. I'm not seeing anything on the Greek side whatsoever. Ist interessant. Kommen aber ein zweiter Lostbelt erst wieder dazu. Also, I didn't mention this before because I didn't want to upset you, but I'm not seeing anything from England. At all. We need more powerful observation equipment than what the Shadow Borders got to see what's happening with the British Isles. Grr. So you're set on having us across the Scandinavian Peninsula? Then, aren't you, Da Vinci? Das ist auch interessant, weil, ich meine, so viel kann man sagen, es gibt ja diesen hammergeilen Trailer, wo, also das kann man ja spoilern, wo ja die Kryptos und ihre Lostbelts vorgestellt worden ist. Anastasia, klar, das ist ja als nächstes und wir werden natürlich einen griechischen haben und es kommt ja wieder einer mit der Tafelrunde und da war jetzt natürlich die Vermutung sehr stark, dass wir nach England da reisen, aber naja, schauen wir mal. Würde aber auch Sinn geben, dass das was ganz Besonderes ist. Alright, we've come this far after leaving Moscow, so at the border's current speed, we should reach the peninsula in about 2 days. Very well then, use the time to make sure we are fully prepared. Danke, dass du dich um mich sorgen machst. Mirror, if we run into anything, we could use to shore up our defenses along the way. Take the opportunity to stop the border to ensure everything is in good working order. Da Vinci, you look after the little Demi-Servant, girl. I can't have a falling down in the job. Beim letzten Mal hat sie es ganz gut gemacht. Holmes, come with me. We're going to the solitary confinement chamber. Solitary confinement? Mr. Goredofl, does that mean? Of course. I'm going there to interrogate Kadoc. He should be waking up any time now. It's time for me to put my brilliant questioning skills to use. Heißt es hier, spielt guter Cop und blöder Cop, oder? When I'm through with him, he'll have us taught what cryptos are, what I'm planning, everything. Mark my words. Ich komm vielleicht doch lieber mit und schau mir das mal an. Huh, don't you look at me like that. You need the right people for the right job. I admit I may not be the best fit for interrogation, but you, even less so. Don't you worry, Kadoc may be something of a twisted little brat, but he's still a growing boy. Merely tempt him with food and he'll be putty in my hands. Trust me, one whiff of my creamy carbonara will turn his complexion from sour milk to sunflowers in an instant. Worry not, Mr. Maxi. I see to it that the interrogation doesn't evolve into violence. In fact, I have my own questions I wish to ask him. I have a fairly good idea of the Crypter's goal now, and I also believe I know the extent of Kadoc Zemlupus' personal knowledge. However, there are still two important things I know little about, the Tree of Emptiness and the Sirius Light command spell office. Granted, the latter is something Kadoc merely mentioned once, and may not be that important. Wir können doch nicht angegriffen werden, es gibt ja doch niemand mehr. Eine Mörder Light? What's this all about? I thought there weren't supposed to be any more or Preniki. We're not out in the Russian woods yet. Something's approaching us at high speed. It's closing in on our port side at over 90 kilometers per hour. Come on, Maniru. Float before it catches up to us. I can't. We're just about to go uphill. The borders can't go any faster. Oh crap, I'm picking up heat signatures too. It's an RPG. Impact in 3, 2. I thought that. Please tell me that wasn't a direct hit, Da Vinci. Damage report. Is the engine intact? Are we going to have to bail in the middle of this race? I'm sure the damage is negligible. And our armor's still perfect intact. We shouldn't need to do more than wipe off a scorch mark. The Shadow Border's armor is a composite of cutting-edge technology and made with fury. Normally weapons can't even scratch it. That's not what I'm seeing, Holmes. That blast took out one of our armor plates. Another hit like that and we'll be in deep shit. Huh? Really? Some great detective you are. Holmes, wach auf, Mann, Junge. Then that means
I remember now. This is the same sort of explosion I felt back then. Genau, das war, als wir vor Kionoske geflohen ist. Da wurden wir auch abgeschossen. 2 weeks ago, when I was just a helpless, albeit handsome man being shot with an anti-material rifle. This can only mean that Kionoske is back to finish the job. It really might be the curtains this time. Spares the triple down memory lane, old man. Come on, Holmes, do something. Right, my apologies. I'm not used to eating crow. Evacuate all staff portside hallway to the engine room immediately, Miss Kirei, and I will go and deal with the attacks. Sherlock im Einsatz. Oh, on that note, Miss Kirei, I would like you to put up a magical energy barrier in the internal hallway, so as to fend off the possible second rounds. I trust you're alright with that, Maxi. Das hat er gar nicht Mr. Maxi gesagt. I am. Yeah, I'm coming with. Messi muss ich beschützen. Oh, no you don't. You stay right here. We can't have everyone running off and leaving the command room. Messi. Master entity should reach the border in 50 meters. Putting up visual now. Kionoska. They must think they're hot stuff. Her vehicle must have impressive suspension if they're heading straight to us, though. I didn't think Russia had any race cars like that around. Alright. Where are you, you little leftover Praniki? Let's see what I look... What the heck, Chaldea?
That's not a vehicle. It's a person. Someone is approaching on the foot. Wait, that's alert.
Oh nein! Ich weiß es! Kotmine! Rasputin, wie auch immer! Clergy vestments and the Lostbelt servant readings. It's the priest. The one who calls himself Metropolitan Macarius. Und jetzt, er will natürlich Kadoc retten. I woke up when I thought I heard a voice calling me. It was a cold, almost brittle kind of voice. Where am I? I guess this means I'm still alive. There's a dull ache in the back of my head where I got a pistol whipped. He sure wasn't playing around. Goddamn cowboy. Shouldn't I just be cool and laid back and at all that? Da ist mein Billy. This shaking. Am I in a vehicle? This must be the shadow border. I tried to assess the circumstances as best I can in this dimly lit place. Looks like they took me a prisoner. They bound my hands, but now I can move around freely. The anti-mage cuffs they must have used on me are lying in pieces on the floor. Did I break them unconsciously while I was out? No, I couldn't have. I know I'm not capable of that. Why are the cuffs so damn cold? Did something freeze them enough to turn them brittle? Or maybe it's her farewell gift to me, huh? That the thought even entered my mind makes me sick. I don't have the time to get all sentimental. Now that I have failed, I don't have to write. Curse! That doesn't mean I'm going to waste this opportunity if I'm gonna make a getaway. Is someone attacking the shadow border from the outside? But the only ones who could do that are the crypters. Does that mean someone's here to rescue me? No, there's not a chance of that. They're here to shut me up. There's no other reason anyone would waste their time on a loser like me. Alright, I can't just sit around and wait for them to kill me. First off, I've gotta find a way out of here. After that, who knows. Escaping's all I can hope for now. Once it's done, I'll just have to see where the winds take me. Sherlock! Damn it, there goes another one. What's the situation? Mash raised her shield just in time. That one barely did anything. Way to go, Mash! Foo-foo! The Master servant is still in pursuit of the border's port side. Wait, is he about to fire again? How many rounds did he even bring with him? I just noticed the NFF service marking on that thing. It must be one of Kionoska's weapons. No wonder it was able to damage the magecraft armor. That's it. It looks like the priest is all sermon and no rot. Like pearls before swine. So to gold before music, I suppose. The only one who could properly handle a modern magecraft weapon like that is Kionoska. Wait, what? The hatch is open. Why is the hatch open? Goredofl, quick! Check the internal surveillance cameras.
I think someone opened the borders hatch and got her out inside.
There's someone on the starboard ramp.
What? That can't be right. You expect me to believe someone is hanging off the side like some kind of axe-move? Wait, there's Kadoc Zemlupus. Just how many adventure-crazed nuts are there around here? I thought there was something on us. The thing is headed toward the deck now. So trying to take advantage of this confusion to escape, huh? Come on, Maxie. We're taking that hatch and going up there too. Do not let Kadoc get away. I have a mountain of questions I still need to ask him.
Bist du richtig mutig hier, right?
So, figures you show up. You're looking a little less dazed now. Glad to see you're back to usual happy-go-lucky nonsense.
Yeah? Paxi snapped me out.
I see. So the jug is dead now, huh? I would have won if not for him. Guess the stupid speech of his was potent shit for you.
Mach dich nicht über Paxis Opfer lustig, Mann.
He was a thorn in my side, but even I gotta admit he was a hell of a guy. I won't repeat the mistake of writing someone like him off as a loser. Enough chit-chat already, Zemlupus. Get back inside the border now, and I make sure you're treated fairly under international law. Trust me, you don't want to be stupid and go jumping off a moving vehicle like this. I can tell you from experience that you'll regret it. You end up dead and we'll have lost you. Show me that you're willing to help us, and I'll be willing to put a good word for you at the association. You don't have to threaten me, though there might be a lifeboat or something out here, but there's nothing. Getting out here was a huge pain in the ass, and it looks like it was all for nothing. Once I might have jumped off just to spite you, but no. Now I've got a promise to keep. I can't go throwing my life away. You want to interrogate me? Right? Fine. I'll tell you everything you want to know. That's a small price to pay for our survival. At this point I don't care what it takes me to stay.
Excellent. This makes my little insurance trip out here well worth it. Auf Wiedersehen, Zemlupus.
Turn around, you did!
Kadoc!
Rasputin, you son of a...
Why, if it isn't gold of music, how nice to see you again. You too, Master of Chaldea. Allow me to offer my congratulations on successfully taking down Russia.
Let go of him right now!
I'm afraid I can't do that. I have my own concerns, you understand, of course. My job was to oversee Kadoc Zemlupus' role as a crypter, and that role came to an end. So I thought I would give him as nice and merciful a send-off as possible.
Ein Mann Gottes von wegen. As if Da Vinci wasn't enough, now he's gonna stab Kadoc in the back too. As a gentleman, I'm bound to stop him, but my golf punch will never work on him. Golf punch? Damn it. Where's Holmes when you need him? I thought he was always supposed to be 2 steps ahead.
Not to worry, Director Goredofl. Eliminating all of you isn't my job description. Russia is currently my sole jurisdiction, you see. As such, I needed to handle this before you'd left there entirely. I hope you can forgive the necessity of my resorting to such drastic measures, unbefitting of my age though they are. I am afraid I lack Kurnoska's ability to move between Lostbelts. I am limited to getting around the same way you do. As a middle manager of sorts, I am not able to go to the next Lostbelt without the foreign god's permission.
Foreign god? Intriguing. Would you be so good as to tell us more, Metropolitan Macaris? I'm sorry I'm late, Master. Kadoc?
Now then, I'd best be on my way. I hope you won't mind my saving the answer to your question for our next meeting, Sherlock. Oh, but before I go, I would at least like to put a stop to this false name you've been using for me. My true name is Rasputin, Griogi Rasputin. That said, I confess that this version doesn't belong to me. I'm simply borrowing it from a dead man.
I deduced all that long ago, my dear priest. My concerns are more fundamental in nature. Where did you acquire that dead man? In proper human history, Kotmine Kirai's body was cremated. So, how did you come to take possession of a dead man without a body?
Oh, I'm sure you figured it out sooner or later, Sherlock. That is, after all, what you do. You once called the incineration of humanity a mythological murder case. In which case, go ahead and label this attack the same way. Ask yourself who committed this crime and how. Once you have arrived at that answer, we will meet again. When the day comes, I look forward to you accusing the culprit in person.
Father Kotmine, I mean, Rasputin has made off with Kadoc. What should we do, Senpai? Maybe if we turn the border around now... Don't bother. We'll never catch up, and we can't risk going back to Russia. We'll just have to give up on interrogating Kadoc Zemlupus. This was my fault. I should have considered that someone may pursue us.
Unsere einzige Spur ist weg.
Damn it, I can't believe I got knocked out again. Sneaking over people and stabbing them is kind of your thing, huh? I think my heart actually stopped for a while back there.
Indeed it did. If it hadn't, you really think Holmes would have let us escape so easily? No, if he had realized you were still alive, they would have come back to retrieve you. I couldn't let that happen. Not after Kirschtaria asked me to bring you back to Olympus.
Is it so? Well, it doesn't matter either way. You wasted your time, Rasputin.
Oh.
What a Chaldea gives me or what time does it. I'll be just as dead. Now that I've failed, I don't belong with either of them. I'm just going to be an example to the other cryptors. What was it? If you've got something to say, then spit it out, Father.
Apologies, I was just thinking how much easier my job would be if Kirschtaria was the sort of person. At any rate, it's clear what's going to happen to you. You may have lost your right to run a Lostbelt, but you still have your serious light. That command spell belongs to our god. As long as you possess it, your life does not belong to you alone. You no longer have the option of throwing your life away, Kadoc Zemlupus. Your fate is to have every last bit of your soul squeezed out of you until the day you die. Sehr schön. Eine richtig schöne Kampagne, liebe Leute. Beginnt sehr schön und fröhlich. So, lala, wie es nun weitergeht, was mit Kadoc passiert ist, das wissen wir. Aber wie unsere Reise jetzt im nächsten Lostbelt verlaufen wird, werden wir dann beim nächsten Mal erleben. Bis dann verabschiede ich mich. Ich war euer Mr. Fix und bis dahin. Auf Wiedersehen. Ciao.